Rosalind like raids somebody, then Tom comes in and says that it's your birthday. Is that it? Oh my god, Tom, what are you doing? Reading chat while playing and singing isn't wise, Ash. You might get giggles. Yeah, I always do. I always do. You said what? You started Tommy and the Birth Curse goes on. It goes on and on and on. Well, if you want a song anyway, I'd love to play a song for you, Ben. Didn't you told me to call you Sean at one stage? Or was it Danielle? No, now I'm just getting confused. It started with Ben's raid call when he finished his stream. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey Ben, what are you actually streaming at the moment? I think it's every stream, isn't it? Not just Roz's raids. It's every single one. In my case, it's a definite trigger. Okay, let's see. Dun-dun-dun. Have we got any requests? Oh, I don't think that we've actually played this song, and I have not given this much of a practice, to be honest with you, but let's try it anyway. This song is like really high actually for my voice, but we'll try it out. Chords. Dun 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 dun. It's fine. It's cool. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, okay. Hello. Oh. Hello. Wow, wow, getting a bit of gain. Yeah! Tried to hit the note. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm doing, Glenn. Okay, we're gonna be serious now. Oh, that's so fun. I think that was the first time that I've done like a little like a yo yo yo. I like that though. How's everybody doing? Welcome in. Hello, Glenn. Hello, Opinionated as well. How are you guys doing? Hello, Indiana. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Jonah. Good to see you. Hello, Acacia. Welcome back. Oh, I hope that you're all having a great day today. I could say that I'm having like a bit of a... Like, I'm having a good day. Like, I'm in a good mood and everything. I did cry because I got news that Al Pacino's ashes were ready, so we went to go collect them today and everything. And I had a good talk about it with Shane, like how I'm feeling and stuff. And I don't know. I think that the whole thing with grief is just like you're so used to having them around that when the connection is cut, like the thing is that I'm trying to come to acceptance with it as best I can and, you know, let it all go. But then there's another part of me that's struggling with that. It's like there's another part of me that misses him so much, and initially I thought that we had like another maybe few years with him, you know? It is really hard waiting, and they were also late like getting them back to us. So not that I didn't like go complain to them or anything, but I was kind of just like, you know, when the expectation is placed, it's like, oh, I can't wait to have him back and everything. I know that he's obviously in ash form, but ash form, but I just like really wanted him to just be here. Like, I couldn't wait to actually like have some form of him like back in the house, you know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm struggling with a lot of conflictions, I guess, within myself, of like, I'm so happy that he's not suffering anymore, but at the same time, like, I miss him so much. I was crying last night before going to bed because, I don't know, there's a part of myself that accepts it, but then there's a part of myself that doesn't. So that's just something that I'm going through right now. And I know it's not going to be like that forever, but maybe when we scatter some of his ashes out in the square, then I might feel, I'm hoping I'll feel like some sort of closure, because I think that that's probably what I've been kind of waiting for. But yeah, it's been a weird day. Like, I've been in a really good mood, but at the same time, I'm like, there's other feelings that are there, you know, underneath. Hopefully you can find your... Yes, I hope so too. I think that it's just, even though we got to say goodbye to him, it was so sudden. We thought that he would be able to get his teeth taken out, and then he'd be able to eat again, and then the blood work came back, and then it turned out he had diabetes and anemia, and then we were just cornered. So we said that it was, well, the vet was like, look, you gotta put him down. So yeah, and there was no way that he was able to get his surgery done anyway, so that's why we were cornered and stuff. So yeah, it just came as such a surprise to us, because I remember us like waiting in the waiting room, waiting for the blood work to come back, and the woman was like on the phone, and it sounded positive, like she was on the phone to a different vet that were going to get his surgery done. And I heard like a few words, and I said to Shane, I was like, oh, it sounds like it's gonna be okay, and he was like, yeah, it sounds that way. And then we walked into the room, and then she just gave us that news, and we were kind of taken back by that. We were like, what? To add to that, you wrote a beautiful song. Yeah, I'm glad that I got to get a song, you know. I'm glad that I got to process it, because with that song, I think that it makes me upset, but I think that it's a good thing that it makes me upset. Like, it allows me to process those emotions, because, you know, if I'm still crying while playing it, then obviously those emotions are still there. So like that song is almost a great channel, or a great way to like channel those emotions and even transform them. I know that someday I'll probably sing that song and I'll be happy rather than sad, you know? Like I'll be more like, it'll be more like I'll be grateful. Obviously I'm grateful for the times we have, but it'll be kind of like a happy song where I'm like, I cherish and where I just cherish and I'm grateful for the memories, rather than in like a really sad kind of grieving kind of way, you know. But anyway, I'm sorry, I've missed like a lot of messages here. Let's try to catch up here. Ash is just background and it's working great. Let's go, opinionated. Nice vibes, chills, let's go. Jonah, how are you doing today? I hope that you're doing great. How's your cat? Any update on your cat? Have you gone to the vet today actually, or are you still waiting? Jonah is having to hold on to his seat right now, experiencing turbulence from Ash's voice. He's probably levitating. I see. Oh yeah. I was doing that. I was like, there's gonna be too much gain. I was just about to post this in Discord. Join Ashling Melodies, the unstoppable force of rhythm and soul. With every note she battles the silence and brings the world to life. Tune in for epic tunes, fierce energy, and a soundtrack that will make you feel invincible. The beat is calling. Are you ready to join the music revolution? Whoa, let's go! Now, that's chat GTP, right? Sometimes I get mixed up. I go like GPT. It is GTP, is it? What is it again? What's the order of that? GTP? GPT? GPT. I don't know. Are we trying to wake Shane up from a nap? He's actually, I think that he might be in a meeting, but I'm sure that they're grateful, right? I have something to add to the meeting, apart from boredom. I'm sure he has to sleep next to Ash while she's doing vocal warm-ups in bed. Well, if that means like crying. Nah, I think Shane was actually asleep and I was just like in the bed, just silently crying because I didn't want to wake him up. But I was like, at one point I was like, you know that thing where you're like trying to hold in, not that I was trying to hold in like the cry. Well, it kind of was, I suppose. I didn't want to wake him up. But I was doing like, you know that shuddering thing, like and I think that he kind of woke up from that. Human beings don't have such an amazing voice. Jonah, thank you so much. You're such a sweetie. It's like the voice exercises of old. Yeah, do you mean like the ones, like the streams that we used to do? Maybe I should just come in and do intros like that. I think it's a good way of starting up the stream. Having made pancakes this morning, it's a very good start. Let's go. Nice. What did you have on your pancakes? I'm sure you're relieved that you've actually got... Yeah, I'm very relieved. Like, I was really looking forward to having him back, and yeah, I'm just... like, it is heartbreaking at the same time, you know, to be like, I just didn't want it to end like this, you know. It's obviously really heartbreaking. Like, I'm happy that he's not suffering anymore, but yeah. It's just like, I think that in death, like losing people, you know, we all have a chance to actively fix something in our lives, like we always have, you know, devices to do that. You can fix any problem, but when it comes to your loved ones dying, that's something that you just can't fix. And to be honest with you, this is actually the first, you know, I've lost birds, and birds are obviously amazing, and I felt really close to them, but I've never actually lost a dog to death. I've owned a lot of dogs in my life, but we had 3 dogs at one stage when I was 12, and we had to give them away because it was obviously, that was really tough. But I knew that they were going to homes, and I knew that they were going to be okay, you know? So it wasn't as tough. But actually, like, losing a cat or a dog, that has never happened up until this point. And I've never lost, like, any person that's close to me whatsoever. So this is, like, my first time kind of going through something almost so personable, because I feel like cats and dogs, they're so, like, they're a lot closer to you than a lot of other pets would be, I suppose, because they're always walking around the house. Like, they just have, like, this big presence. I'm not saying that other pets don't, but I'm just saying, with them kind of just, like, prancing around the house and then you not seeing them anymore, it's so difficult for the body and the mind to, like, really get used to that, like, you're not here anymore. And then there's, like, the spiritual tie that's cut, and it's just this one big healing process, and, like, trying to get used to it. And the only thing that I can focus on right now is, like, letting go of the situation and accepting, you know? Which is what I want to do, but I want to let myself go through whatever emotions that I need to feel right now. And just be with myself. You need help from people. Wait, Kevy, how are you doing? Welcome in. Good to see you. I did read one of your messages, but I didn't actually say hello. How are you doing? You need help from people close to you now. Don't let yourself be alone now. Me and Shane, we had a good talk about this. Like, I basically talked about, you know, everything that I've talked about with you guys right now. I think that talking through what I'm feeling is, like, a great way of, like, getting a grasp on my emotions, I guess. And they don't need to be obviously intellectualized all the time. Sometimes it's better to feel them, but it's nice to see, like, to understand where I am with them, you know? So, yeah, it's been a process, for sure. The upset will turn into happiness every time you sing it, because you remember him in a more... That's the thing. Like, I think that it will definitely transition into that. Like, I am really glad that I got to know him, and it was only, like, 8 months, but it's crazy just how much of an effect an animal can have on you in such little time. Now, we did know him for, like, 3 years now. It's crazy. I met Shane 3 years ago, and he was, like, living in the house next door, and he had never really owned any pets, and he didn't really, like, he hadn't really, like, pet, like, cats. Like, he didn't really know how to breed them. A lot of people don't really know how to breed cats because they haven't, like, had a cat or whatever, or some people just look at them as evil because they can't understand them, or, yeah, anyway. So, I was obsessed with the cats from the get-go. I was like, oh my god, kitties, but they didn't want to come anywhere near me. But I obviously kept feeding them, and like you could tell that none of them had ever experienced touch from like anyone. So I got closer and closer to them, and when they started eating, when they were comfortable enough to eat close to me, I would just go ahead and pet them, because I know that they weren't going to like, if I put my hand out and they saw my hand coming towards them, they weren't gonna like allow that, you know? And it's not that I was trying to force like, oh my god. But the thing is that like, how do you make any progress? You have to like do it when they're like distracted by something, and then you kind of get them used to it, right? But over the past few years, they've gotten closer and closer, and now when I go out to feed them, then they're all like brushing up against me. I'm like surrounded by all these cats. I'm like trying to give them pets all at the same time. It's a really amazing time. I don't know why I'm getting like I'm getting like emotional over this. I'm just really like happy that they've opened up so much, you know. It's really amazing to see like the change that has happened in these cats, especially this one cat called Grouch, who was even scared of her own like sisters. I'm pretty sure they're all sisters. They all look about the same age and they all look pretty alike. They're all black and white. But this particular cat, she's like really fluffy. She's so beautiful. She's probably, you know, maybe conventionally the most greatest looking cat. She's really photogenic. She's a total fluff ball. But she was scared to even like approach her sisters. Like she wouldn't eat with anybody, so she would come to the back window of our kitchen, right, and I would just feed her there, and then I give her like rubs and everything once she became comfortable with it at the windowsill. And from me, you know, getting her used to touch, that over time made her more comfortable being around the cats. So now she actually has relationships with the cats and she eats with the cats now. It's just so amazing to see. But yeah. And then as for Al Pacino though, he was completely different from all of the cats. He had never, now I do tell you this, like he definitely hadn't been, you know, touched before or anything like that, because when I'd put my hand out to him and he'd see my hand, he would be like, okay, go away. But now this was when I fed him and he was distracted. I like started petting the back of his neck and he kind of like pulled away a little bit, but then he kind of started coming a little bit closer and just like settling into it. And he was just like, oh, I actually like this. And he had like he loved it within a few seconds. And then from then on, it's just like a switch just like clicked within him. And he was like, I'm this big loving cat now. Like, give me loads of rubs. And he was just such a big purr. Like the purrs that came out of him was like nothing else. So yeah. I think that I always like think back to the first time that I got to rub him. He was just such a big, lovey little fluff ball from the beginning. So yeah. This is why I will never have another pet. It hurts too much to say goodbye should they go first, and I don't want to burden anyone with a pet should I go first. I wouldn't say that you'd burden someone with a pet though, you know? Like, I think that if they're gonna take them, they're gonna take them, and that's their choice at the end of the day, right? I think that the love that a pet can give you in the here and the now, and the here and now is all that matters, right? I think that it's 100% worth it even though you go through pain. That's just my personal opinion, obviously, but I think that it's always, always worth it. And, when it comes to wanting to be happy in the here and now, I think that it is really worth it to have that love in your life rather than holding on to love as just a memory, because it's not really the same. And I suppose that like it causes you to actually live in the past, and you're living all of these memories of like what happened before, and then you're dragged into maybe this solemnness of like they're gone, and the thing is that when you have a pet in the here and the now, then they bring you into the here and the now, which is like where you want to be, right? Rather than kind of like living in, your loving memories of a lost pet, which can obviously be positive as well. But me personally, I really appreciate the power and the impact that a pet can have on you to really like bring you and your consciousness and your body like into the present. And yeah, they just have an amazing effect like that. I honestly don't think you need to process anything. It's natural to grieve. Just give it time and stay close to people who can cheer you up and carry you through. Exactly. Honestly, I'm so glad that me and Shane have like gone through this, because I've experienced like grieving alone, and my sisters would like grieve alone. I think that when it came to like, we had like shared pain, but we never really, I suppose maybe we were just a bit too like, we were teenagers, so I think that it was just little bit awkward for us to go over to each other and like hug each other. I think that if we had lost maybe like a family member, maybe that definitely would have happened. But this was the first time that I had been wrapped in someone's arms that was also grieving with me. That was a completely new experience for me, and it made me feel very grateful that I didn't have to go through it alone. And the fact that he was going through the exact same thing as well was something that was really meaningful. And honestly, it brought us so much closer, the two of us. So I was really, really grateful for that. Like, it's sad, but it's also beautiful at the same time that death really does like bring you together. It really does make you feel closer to one another, and it really allows you to cherish every single moment that we have together. If you decide to perceive it that way. Ash always brings the world to life. Aw, Kevy, that's so nice of you to say. Mwah. I talked to Chat. Oh yeah, it's Chat GPT. Okay, right. Now every day I can hear her veil, because that's the name of the voice who reads me the responses. Wait, the veil? Like, wait, is this like some medieval thing? Or what is it? Hey, it wasn't 100% GPT. I had to put the prompt into it. Okay, it was partly you, so I do thank you for that. You went through the effort of like putting in the prompt words, looking up Chat GPT as well, and copy and pasting it in here too. So I will give you part of the credit. Ash, don't hold the cry in. I don't know. I know that I shouldn't be, but I know that I will, like, get through this at the same time. Like, right now, I don't want to... I don't feel like getting too emotional, do you know what I mean? Like, I just, like, I don't want to get myself too upset. I want to... Like, I think that sometimes bringing in too much emotion when I'm trying to clarify my own thoughts on the situation, sometimes it can cloud that and make it more depressing than it actually seems. I'm trying to rationalize, or not rationalize, but I'm trying to clarify my thoughts in a clarified way. But yeah, I think that if I get too upset right now, then I might romanticize the situation a bit too much, you know? And obviously I'll do, like, all the crying that I need to do and, like, do all the things that I need to do to let go of the situation. But right now I think that, yeah, all I want to do is just try to stay grounded, you know, at the same time. Because I think that, like, I was almost romanticizing the situation a lot, very much at the beginning, I think. And, like, I was getting very, very upset, and I don't really know how to verbalize this right now. I'm trying to find the words of, like, I think that it's, like, in the way that I think about things. Like, if I think about this, like, in such a sad way of, like, you know, I have to outweigh the negative with the positive, and I think that that's what I'd like to start moving towards, and not in, like, a forceful way or anything. It's more of just, like, I want to try to see this in a positive light and, like, see what I've learned from this and how this is making me grow, because I know that everything happens for a reason, and I don't want to get too caught up in, like, oh my god, I've lost him, like, what am I gonna do without him and everything. And, you know, it's this kind of, like, over exemplification, is that a word? What is it? But is that, like, exempt? Is it over exaggeration of, like, despair, you know? Like, I could say, like, oh, I don't think that I'm able to go on without Al Pacino, but that just puts me in a box, you know? So yeah. I think that, like, once we do the ash spreading and everything, I think that I will be ready to move into a new kind of stage where I choose to change my thoughts on the situation rather than, like, being, you know, I don't know how to, like, rather than, like, being too upset about it, you know? Because I think that the way that we think does, like, affect things. But yeah, it'll all happen naturally. when mom got her father's ashes back, she had to split the ashes up 4 ways because not everyone in the family gets along. But she accidentally spilled them and didn't want my nana to go in the room to see it, but nana came in and laughed and said not to worry about it and vacuumed up the split portion. So now there will always be a portion of my granddad in the vacuum. I mean, that could be symbolic. Like, was he always the kind of person to, you know, clean up people's messes? You know? That could be like this whole thing. Right? His name was Henry, wasn't it? That's actually funny because Shane's grandfather is called Henry. I recently saw the film Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which was an examination of Ovid's story of Orpheus and Eurydice? I probably do know it to hear it, but anyway, written in 8 BC, which looked at the choice of poet versus the choice of lover. Quite deep. Wait. What can you go into this a little bit more, opinionated? Please don't vacuum me though. I'm actually like my ashes be mixed with weed and smoked out. I think it's a beautiful way. Hey, maybe we can have some telepathy going on here. If I smoke you up, then I might get a look into the mind of Jonah. That'll be interesting. I don't think smoking ashes is great for infection control. You could smoke the weed separately and then haunt the vacuum. I get what you say. You don't have to find... Okay, I'm glad that you get it. Yo! Tinkerman, how are you doing? Good to see you. Can we get a shout out for P1TM__? Is it 2 underscores there? How have you been doing? I hope that you've been doing great. How have your streams been? Yo, Balance, hello, welcome in. How are you doing today? Welcome back. Nah, I don't think I even have a vacuum. What? Oh, you usually use a sweeping brush. I really did rather sweeping brushes over hoovers for a long time, but I think that we just didn't have a very good hoover. And then we got Henry the Hoover. Jeez, Henry the Hoover is popping up all over the place. But we got Henry the Hoover, and Henry the Hoover is like the best Hoover ever. It's so good. It's so good. I don't think I'll ever change Hoovers ever again. But yeah, it's amazing. I love that little, there's like this little kind of like brush Hoover thing that you attach on the end, and it's really good for hoovering the carpet on the stairs. I love it. It's so good. It's so good. I'm getting so passionate over hoovering right now. Anyone that wants to cry right now, put on Phosphorescence Song for Zula from the BBC sessions. I have it running also as background. Do you want me to cry? I'll definitely have a look at that after stream for sure. Thank you so much for the let's have a look. Wait, let me put this in my notes. Bum 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 bum. I think that maybe there's like what I mean of like over exaggeration of like this despair. I think that the whole shock of everything made everything seem so tragic, but like I don't have to perceive it that way. I can perceive it as like, okay, this was like meant to happen and this happened for a reason because it was just Albie's time to go, you know? And it just so happened that we were, you know, almost caged in a way that we didn't have like a way out of this, right? And I think that then the other positive thing about it is that he's just not suffering anymore, and that does bring me a lot of peace. But at the same time, it doesn't like take away my longing to be with him again. They're still the best. Yes, let's go. Timeless, yes. Symbolic if Grandpa was always complaining that people are vacuuming loudly. Wait. What do you think, Indiana? Do you think that, or definitely not. I'll preface this with, he was a lovely guy, but he did away large sums of money in the attic and left the family when Mom was a teenager, so the relationship wasn't great, but everyone reconnected later in life. Wow. So wait, he was like hiding money from the family type thing? Really? I've been doing well. Streams have been chaos and confusion with a tiny bit of singing badly. Oh, don't say that about yourself. Don't say that. I haven't actually gotten to see you sing before, but I'm sure that you're amazing though. Thank you for the shout out. Of course, no problem. Yo, Jonah, thank you so much for the 300 bits. Thank you so much, my love. Mwah. Thank you so much for your support. Love you. Love you so much. I don't like carpets, so I don't really have, yes. We have, everything downstairs is not carpet, but everything upstairs and the stairs, they're carpet. They're not too bad to hoover though. They're actually like, I think that upstairs is actually like easier to hoover than downstairs, which is funny. But I suppose that maybe we walk a bit more downstairs. We definitely walk more with our shoes on downstairs. So yeah, it would be like more dirt, obviously. I still have one from early 90s. Still going. What? Are you serious? That's mad. I wonder if they like updated the Hoover at all, or is it like the same? Has it been the same like ever since? Our Dyson spat a cloud of dust on me one day. Oh, lovely. Yeah, see, I think that we had Dysons like up until then. Up until, you know, we got a Henry. I don't think I ever would have gotten a Henry unless it was for Shane, because he always had one like his whole life. And I was just like, I don't know. Like when he was like, what Hoover will we get? I was like, he was like, let's get a Henry the Hoover. I was like, I thought that they were a bit of a gimmick, you know, like I hadn't had one before, but I was just like, are they really that good? Like they seem like a bit of a gimmick just because of like, you know, the cartoon face and stuff, I suppose. I was obviously judging a book by its cover, but it's amazing. Dyson like is nothing compared to Henry the Hoover. And Henry the Hoover is like I think that he's a fair price, you know? I think that he's a pretty affordable price for a Hoover. The lover lives in the moment. The poet chooses memory, as it lasts longer than love does. I don't know, like I don't really agree with it. It's kind of like, how are we to say how long love really lasts? You know what I mean? Like if you're living in the moment with your love, then I think that it's actually, it's like, it feels a lot stronger in the now than if you experience it through memory, if you get me. I feel like it's multiplied by eternity if we experience it in the now. Do you know what I mean? But I don't really think that love has like a limit, or at least I don't think that love has like a time limit. You know what I mean? Because love like exceeds time, right? Love is like above all, you know? And whether we experience it in now or we experience it in our memory, that's a choice that's completely up to us. But I think that loving in the now for me is what's preferred, because I know that I'll always hold a space in my heart for all of the souls that I've lost in the past, and I'll always carry their memory on with me. But if I'm like so lost to these thoughts, then I myself have lost myself due to having lost these souls, and I don't think that they'd want that for me, you know? And if I'm doing something in memory of them or out of my love for them, then I want to carry on my life just as they would want me to, you know? But yeah, that's just how I personally feel about it. I love crying, especially on a movie that can make you cry, like Marley and Me. Marley and Me makes me cry every single time without fail. Oof. I think that honestly, if I watched it now, I would cry like nothing I have ever cried like before watching that movie. Plus, I didn't cry on Titanic and thought I actually didn't cry either. But like, to be honest with you, I thought that your one Rose, I thought that she had enough space on that like door or wardrobe or whatever. I was like, take him up on the thing with you. What are you doing? I was just more frustrated than anything. I wasn't like upset. I was like, come on, what are you doing? Take him up. And she's like, I'll never let you go, Jack. I'll never let you go. And then she just lets him go. Sinks him down to the bottom of the ocean. Okay, I'm letting you go now. You're dead. Definitely not. And I know that it was obviously like this whole thing where it's like, you know, I'll never let you go, like you'll always be in my heart. But it was kind of funny. It was like, get off of me. Alright, definitely not. Wait, actually, sorry, I read this. Hello, World Cry, how have you been doing? Good to see you. Hey, how's life going? Please give us a little insight into how life is going for you. Hiding money from my nana, moved away and lived with another woman. What? Before I was born, but even with nana finding the money, she wouldn't accept it because it wasn't her money, even though everyone was telling her to take. Oh, she should have. Was this like left in the will or something? Was it? Dad has a Henry in the shed to vacuum his classic cars. No way. Oh my god. Do you have some pics of these classic cars? Absolutely. It needed some bushings at some point, and then I had to remove an old capacitor, but it's still going. Well done. I mean, I don't know what a capacitor is. I'm not very good with these things, okay? But if my old capacitor went, then it would be a lost cause. He would be gone by now. Amazing. It actually is. I was so surprised by it. And there's so many different like settings that you can use. Like, I might have a more updated version than yourself, Glenn, but it's crazy. It's crazy like how, I don't know, there's like this twisty thing that like allows more airflow to come out, and so then there's like, I'm not gonna go into explaining it. I'm not gonna go into my passion for this Hoover, but just know that I'm passionate about it. To play devil's advocate for a moment, the loves and losses and laughs of Shakespeare are still with us since 1600. That is very true. That is very true. I think that like, okay, if we think about it this way, right? I think that you can still reminisce and love in the now, you know? Like, you can still have both. Like, there's always space for both. There's always space for the, you know, remembering the ones that we've lost and cherishing the ones that we have in the now. And that, for me, is what you'd call like a full spectrum experience of life. You know, it's not restricting yourself to introducing more life into your life, you know, instead of just like wishing or missing the life that you once had, you know. Marley, wait. Driving about in a DeLorean would be, whoa, a DeLorean? I don't know what a DeLorean is, but yeah, is this like the classic car, or is this like an actual like Hoover? What are we talking about? Marley and Me? Thank you. You need to watch it. There's always space for a good cry. Wait, have you not watched it before? You need to watch that one. It has Owen Wilson and Jennifer Aniston in it, and they have this dog, and yeah, it's just like a movie about their life with this dog. But I cry. Do be prepared to cry. You know what happens? You should watch it. If you want to go cry, if you ever feel like you just need to get some emotions out, go and watch that film, for sure. The beauty of Mona Lisa is still with us since Da Vinci. That is the power of memory. Look, I'm not trying to shit on memory, because like memory does so much for us, but I think that it becomes a problem when we get too lost in memory, right? I think that there needs to be a balance, right? Because if we get too lost in our memory, then we feel almost like debilitated in our lives. You know, we're constantly living in the past and we're not living and cherishing the now, you know? That's kind of what happens, and then your mind can get clouded and it's this whole thing. Yeah. Mythbusters proved he could have fit on the door. Wait, who could have fit on the door? Oh, they proved that he could fit on the door? Why did you have to tell us this? I didn't want to know. But I actually am glad that I know. Because they are. Honestly, I'm glad. Like, yeah, he could have fucking fit on the door. That's an endless discussion why he didn't climb there. My theory is that he was so froze underwater that he couldn't really move. I mean, like, there is that, but she was also in the water. Like, they could have both climbed up at the same time. Like, he helped her up, and then she's like not frozen in the water anymore, so she's like trying to pull him up and everything. And I'm sure that she wasn't that weak, you know? I'm sure that she was like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like as in like, I'm not saying that she wasn't that weak due to the cold. I'm saying that she probably wasn't that weak in her body. Do you know what I mean? Like her muscles. My life lately has been kind of boring, just reading, working, and dating. How's your dating been going? Please, I love hearing about your dating life, World Cry. I love hearing the ins and outs of this. Just reading. What are you reading at the moment? Mine only has one setting, on and off. No, yeah, the nozzle. Exactly, the nozzle. Mine has an adjuster to allow more air in. Yes. And does it have like this kind of like a flip on the, you know, on the actual head of the Hoover? Does it have like this thing that you can put your foot on and it allows more, it kind of goes like this? If that makes sense? Maybe you have that as well. Recent guy seems to like me a lot, but we have only been on a couple dates, so still up in the air on that one. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, I hope that it's going well. How do you feel about him though? Do you like him as well? But other than that, it's classic Henry Hoover. Let's go. Uh, hot air, but wait, what? Oh, it's up in the air, right? Glenn. Oh my goodness. The car from Back to the Future. Wait. Oh, DeLorean. Guys, I will tell you something. Like, I do have to. Yeah. I do have to tell you. Wait, we're not in a category right now. Maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's for the best right now. We need to go into music category. We'll do music in just a sec. What was I gonna say? What were we talking about? Oh yeah, I've never watched Back to the Future. I know! Don't look at me like that! It's rude! I've never watched Back to the Future. I know that I should, I don't know why I haven't. But I've never watched it. People just like look at me dumbfounded when I say that. I know that everybody has seen that movie, but I just never... I don't know. Whenever I go down whenever I sit down to see a movie, I never, like, Back to the Future just never crosses my mind. I don't know why. It just doesn't. You haven't? Yeah, I haven't. That's amazing. See, Glenn is dumbfounded by this. I watched it as a kid, too scared to watch it as wait, what should I be scared? I cried hard when watched Hachi. What? I never use the fancy see, do you have a carpet? Because I usually have to like change the settings because sometimes it's too hard to like actually hoover the carpet because it has too much suction, so I have to kind of like do the whole thing. So, but yeah, maybe you don't have to like change anything. Maybe you have lost. Wait, do you have carpets all over the house? I'm reading these Omega Alpha Beta Dark Romance series. Wait, you were telling me about this. Wasn't it like a vampire thing? How's it going? Is it really good? I like him. He's really nice. No red flags so far. Okay, that's good. Please let us know. Keep us updated. I hope that everything works out between you two. Fingers crossed. Just so you could understand the references, DeLorean is a car that is a time. Oh, right. You said they're a drive and travel in time. But yeah, watch it. Yeah, I will. I must say it. I think that me and Shane are gonna sit down and watch a movie, so I might say to him, let's watch Back to the Future. Although he kind of wants a kid and I kind of let wait, do you not want kids at all? Maybe you're not ready for them now? And you want them later? You don't have to answer that question if it's too personal, by the way. I am judging. You're judging. Don't judge me! This is ridiculous. When I became a streamer and I decided to come here and stream on Twitch, I never thought that anyone would judge me. But time travel and 88 miles per hour. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do to make you forgive me. I don't even know if you heard that. My jaw is still on the floor. Don't look at me! Oh. Oh, you're talking about Marley and Me. Wait. Oh, you should definitely go watch it again. Sometimes it's just really good to have a good cry It's very good to have a good cry. Just go and do it. Where's the music? I was really enjoying that music actually. Hell yeah. Um, I found one of Dad's cars. I know carpets can be really, really like. Fortunately, when we moved into this house, the landlord who like sold us this house, he had redone the carpets like all together. They were really like nice and springy and just fresh to bounce around on, and and I know how some of you might take that sexually. I kind of regret saying that. But anyway, they were really, really good. They were really good carpets. And I think that they don't really take in a lot of dirt, even though they're really nice and fluffy. You know? They're not like they're not like fluffy, but you know, they have like this springiness to them. And I don't know. It's they're just really good. They're really good for keeping the dirt out for some reason. So I don't really feel like there's a lot of dirt when I hoover up here. But we make sure to like hoover at least once a week. So I think that helps to like keep up with the dirt and stuff. I found one of Dad's cars, but I was taking too long to find the other ones. It's in Discord, no context. Wait. Let's see. Ooh. That's actually a pretty nice car. Holy shit. Do you see a lot of like old classic cars in Australia? You wouldn't really see a lot in like where I live at least. Maybe you'd see some up in Dublin and stuff, but you don't really see them a lot at all. I'm reading Mortal Engines, but I also want to switch to George Orwell because I never read him. Wait, who's George Orwell? Shane is reading the Game of Thrones series at the moment. He's gone through a good bit. He actually read an 800-page book in like 3 months. I mean, like, that's not too bad for someone who had never, like, he hadn't read a book for years and years and years. Like he'd never read like a whole book, you know. He'd like get through some of a book and then kind of just like put it down, and then he'd never come back to it. But this was the first time that he'd gone through a whole book, and it was 800 pages. I think that was pretty good. There are 3 Back to the Futures, so I'm gonna have to watch at least one tonight. But I'll let you know what I think of the first. I'm sure that the first is like the classic, right? I didn't finish the vampire series. I got halfway through the audio and it took almost 3 months. So I'm taking a break. Was it like good? Or was it kind of just like, yeah, this is fine? People will judge you if you're a streamer, Ash. Wait, did you think that I was like being serious? I never been Back to the Future either, don't worry. Wait, you never seen? Okay, I was like, yeah, I don't think you've been Back to the Future. So you haven't either. Okay, I'm not alone in that. Want us to forgive you? Watch the movie with us! Okay. We could do like a Discord movie night, but that would mean that I'm not watching Back to the Future tonight. We would have to watch it together another night. Will we try to sort something out? About the kid thing, if you were to have one, it would have to be soon, as I'm getting kind of old. Oh yeah, right. And the thing is, it's like the best thing is like almost getting to know who he is as a person, because like there's a lot of men out there that want kids, but they're not prepared to actually be a father to the child. Maybe they're willing to like be present in their lives, but a lot are not willing to actually put in the work that's needed, you know, and they expect the woman to do everything. And I think that those views are definitely being shot down a lot lately. And I think that I'm not saying that all men are like that or anything, but I do think that there are still a lot of men out there that think that it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to put in any work. There's so many women out there that are like, you know, they're doing a full-time job and their partner is also doing a full-time job, right? No, I was tearing up a little bit, though. How are you doing? Welcome in. I was tearing up a little bit. I think that that's why I sound a little bit like nasally right now. What am I saying? Oh yeah, they both have a full-time job, but then the mother is still expected to do like all of the work when they get back home and everything. And yeah, I think that it's just, and then there's like women that feel like as if they're taking care of, like, they might have 3 kids, but in reality they're actually taking care of like 4 kids because, you know, their partner just doesn't do anything, right? So yeah, that's an issue that's happening at the moment. But I think that in your case, World Cry, the thing is like, do you really want to rush into like having a kid with somebody? Like, I think that we need to be living with someone first in order to make that decision, because like, I think that the way that chores are split up between people in the house is like very reflective of how it's going to be when you have kids, you know? So it's great to pay attention to that. So if you do end up moving in together, I know that that's obviously a little bit too early for that right now, but if you do, then definitely like pay attention to what he does around the house, because I think that is a huge tell, like how much work he's willing to put in, you know? We've apparently come full circle. By the way, Spoon, actually, I remember Spoon saying full circle, and I didn't thank him for the 2 months. Are you there, Spoon? I'm so sorry that I didn't thank you for the 2 months. If you're there, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 2 months with your Prime. I appreciate you so much. And you said, I quit the job I started when I first started watching. Full circle, let's go. I remember you actually quitting that job. Weren't you like... Were you working on cars at the time or something? I could be completely misremembering because it was quite a long time ago. But you moved into programming then, you got this amazing job, and I'm very, very proud of you. I'm so glad that everything's going so well for you. Thank you so much. Dun-dun-dun. On the weekend, sure, but during the week, no one. Ah, okay, so they're only like a weekend kind of like leisure kind of thing. Is this to, like, if you drive the car too much, then it's gonna like break down and stuff? Is it kind of just like, okay, we're only gonna drive them on the weekends because we gotta keep them in good shape type thing? We've apparently come full circle. Look at that Tesla Cybertruck, or whatever it's called. Looks like origami car. Oh. Let's not even talk about this car. I think that everybody just has like this massive disdain for this car. Like, it's crazy. I think that I made this joke. It was like, I don't think that it feels like full context right now. I can't remember what Shane said about this car, but I don't know. He said something, but I said, looks like they were cutting a lot of corners, because it looks like a lot of corners were cut off the car. You get it? That was like out of context, but you get the joke though. On the weekend, sure. Wait, sorry, I read that. I'm so glad to hear that I'm not alone, because I also read books very slowly since I don't read every day. I thought something... No, there's not... I mean, like, whenever you pick up the book, you pick up the book, right? Like, there's... It's like, you know, books are like grief. You process them in your own time, right? That's it though. Like, it's there's never That's what I love about books, because there's nothing competitive about it. You know, I mean, you could take it that way if you wanted to, but, you know, they're always gonna be there whenever you need them. They're always gonna be there for you. Um, you weren't no, I wasn't being serious. Did you think that I was being serious, or were you also coming at me with sarcasm? Maybe you were. Yo, Fredo, if you're still there, look. Hold on now. Let me show you something. Ta-da! Yowza! Let's go. I was addicted for a while to the series, but I prefer reading. Oh, I know, right? I think that, like, for me, yeah, like, even like watching a TV series, I need to have like subtitles. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but subtitles are just like, they're really great for like processing what people are saying, I think. And yeah, books definitely over audiobooks for sure. Like, I could be doing something and then I'm just like, I don't know, I can't listen. I can't listen and do something at the same time. That's a thing that I have. Maybe it's a whole ADHD thing or something, but it goes right in one ear out the other. 4 kids for the price of 3. Sounds like a deal. Oh, right. I was like, wait, what are you talking about? This guy is... You're messed up in the head, Glenn. No, I'm kidding. But it's true though. Like, it's like, you know, you have a husband that doesn't do anything around the house. Like, you may as well just have like an extra kid that you're trying to look after, you know? I saw like this massive thread of like this one woman like thinking, like, she was just talking about her husband, like she was just like, I don't, like, it doesn't do anything. And there were so many people saying that they were in the same situation, and then once they dropped their husband, then suddenly it felt like as if there was like this huge weight taken off of them, because now they were looking after 3 kids instead of 4, and also they were able to give their kids, you know, to the husband every weekend or every second weekend or whatever, and the husband would come back and be like, I'm sorry, I don't know how you did this, like, I don't know, I'm so sorry that I didn't do anything around the house and whatever, which is crazy. It's crazy that it kind of just like suddenly they what is that that oh, I was gonna sing that, you know, suddenly I see, there's like this Disney song or something, suddenly I see, which one is this? Does anyone know this song? I can't remember. I'm like, the melody is there, but it's not coming to me at the same time. I wasn't sure I wanted to be a dad, but my spouse was sure she wanted children. Turns out I really fell into the role while she expected me to do it all. Wow. Work full time and take care of the children. I can't believe that. So sometimes it kind of like happens, you know, reversed, you know? That's insane. I'm sorry it worked out that way for you. I'd say that it was a very like stressful time. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it was fulfilling in ways too, you know, but it's not fair to have all of that put on you and not to have the work balanced, you know, so I'm sorry you had to go through that, opinionated. Worst thing to do is rush into something just to have a kid. I think that, like, it's so true, because like we romanticize having a kid so much. We really do. Like, we don't really think of like the crying and the, the constant care that goes into it. And it's a big decision to make, It's like, yeah, you want the cuteness of a baby, and obviously there's like these amazing moments, and like children are such a gift, and they really like open up our eyes to the world. Like, we can experience our lives through them, and they awaken our inner child since we're experiencing, life through their eyes. But then there's like parts of yourself can be lost as well. But I think that at the same time, it's still all down to perception, right? It's like, there's this one thing like where parents find it really, really difficult to sit down and play with their child. Like, it's really difficult for them to do because they find it a bit boring and they feel bad about it because they don't want to like play with their child. But it's the way that they perceive it. The way that they perceive it is that, I don't have time for this, I could be doing something else. And I think that it's, if you like flip your perception and you kind of turn it into, this can be like a healing practice for me, this can be a huge bonding experience for me and my child, and I can just sit in this moment and embrace it and allow my imagination to flow with my child, that's when it completely changes. So I think that like when it comes to like having a child, it really is about just like keeping up your positivity in a situation where it can be really, really tough to do. But I think that is, you can either choose for it to be an empowering situation, or you can choose that this is just stressful. And I think that a lot of parents, not a lot, but I mean there are some parents that look at their children as like, they almost like resent their children because they've lost part of themselves because their children have come into their lives and everything. And that can only be true if you make it. You can find yourself through your child as well. Here's me coming in, I haven't had a child before, but I'd like to always challenge my perception, when the time comes and I do have children, hopefully, maybe someday. I hope that I can keep a positive kind of switch on things like that, Make sure things are right with that person, because it affects more than just, that's the thing though, it's like, there needs to be like a certain yin yang in the situation. It's like, you both play to your strengths, but if your strengths just don't mesh with each other in like a harmonious way, then it's just not gonna work, I think that maybe there are a lot of women that, and now me included, I went through this one situation where it was like, you go for the broken, this person needs fixing type of character, and you take it on like as a project. This is what my mother used to do, and I think that that's where I got that from with like my previous relationship. It was kind of just like, let me lighten up your life, but then you lose yourself through that, because like if someone is not fully willing to change, then you do end up like just putting all of your time and energy into something that, if the other person chooses, it could just be a lost cause, So I think that for everybody, it's like really important to find somebody that just has their shit like sorted out, sort your shit out, and then you'll attract someone into your life that also has their shit sorted out, say like emotionally, that is something, it's a big thing. And we all like, we're not all perfect and everything, but I think that if you find someone that's able to that has a great way of like embracing their emotions, and they have like this mechanism to self-soothe, you know, rather than you having to like self-soothe them all of the time. And look, if you choose a partner like that, there's nothing wrong with self-soothing or soothing them. But I also think that if it's at the expense of you, you know, then that's when it kind of, that's when it's a disservice to yourself, you know? And that's when it's kind of like, it comes into question of like, how do you place yourself in terms of worth, you know? Like, say for me, when I was with my ex, I was giving my all into that relationship, and I felt like as if I was the one that was trying to keep everything together, and I didn't even realize, like, I was like, I don't know, he was just very unpredictable, and it was so turbulent, and obviously I was in that relationship because my past was so turbulent, and I was just looking for familiar feelings or familiar experiences, you know? That's what made me feel safe. But in the end, I was only doing these things because I didn't have a lot of self-worth, and I was like voluntarily like, it was definitely like a, maybe, how would you say it? It's like, I was voluntarily but unconsciously putting myself through this and self-sabotaging myself because I didn't like hold myself up to like a higher degree, you know? I didn't look at myself as someone who like deserved to be treated well, deserved to have love, and deserved to be seen and accepted truly as me, you know? And yeah, I suppose that's just what happened. But then once he cheated on me and everything, that was like my one rule. I had always like had this one thing where I was like, the only rule that should be in a relationship is no cheating. But that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be boundaries. Like, you should have your own boundaries in a relationship, you know? There can be more than just, oh, no cheating, you know? There's like, don't talk to me that way, or like, you know, like just not standing for being disrespected, you know? And it's not in this like egoic way of like, don't disrespect me. It's more of just like, see me for who I am, see me as a human, and have compassion for me, and I will do the same for you, you know? I was onto a point here. But anyway, I think that the whole transition just happened when he cheated on me, and then I had like all these epiphanies of just like, wow, I didn't deserve that. And like I started like gaining this self-awareness of like, you know, I can't believe you did this to me. It was a full betrayal. And I started picking apart, like I started seeing in hindsight all the ways that he treated me, and this empowerment like started rising up from that. It was kind of like there was this anger, there was a lot of anger. There was like, oh my god, I can't believe, like, how could you have treated me this way, and why did I stand for this, and what am I going to do now to change that so that I don't go through this kind of relationship ever again? Because now that I had all of this knowledge in hindsight, I promised myself I'm not going to go through another emotionally abusive relationship ever again, because I held myself to a new standard now. It was like, it just completely changed in me. And I wasn't gonna settle, you know? I usually just had this thing where it was like, you know, once I was single, then the next person that came into my life, not like, the next person that came into my life, but the next person that I was attracted to or whatever, I think that I was so afraid of being alone. I just jump into a next relationship without really kind of like vetting this person properly, or like, I didn't have the boundaries. So I was just like, whatever happens, happens, I didn't have like, I'm not saying that you should have walls up around you, but it's like, if you have self-worth, then you don't allow people to speak to you in a certain way, that you don't allow people to manipulate you. You can see through that, Yeah, I think that's all I want to say. You gotta make sure everything works for having kids, because they will suffer later. It's a big response. That's the thing, and I think that that's something that we're really, really looking into these days. It's really something that we're like, okay, let's really, just because we want to have kids doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, I think that it's our responsibility to say, okay, are we in a good financial place at the moment? And like, look, if something happens, obviously mistakes, I don't like to call them mistakes, but when that happens, then it happens, I guess. But I think that there is more responsibility coming into the world at the moment, and I think that it's great to see. I think it's great to see that we want the suffering to end, right? But if it's meant to happen at the end of the day, I think that whatever experiences we're going through, or whatever kind of suffering we've been through, it's all happened for a reason. We were all meant to experience the life that we have, and sometimes it might be hard to see it that way, but that's just how it is. Like, my biological parents weren't ready at all, mentally and financially, so then my sister and I had to take it all. Yeah, like, it's a real shame that we have to go through that. But if we look at it as like a big picture type thing, it really is a beautiful like soul evolution, it really helps to transform your energy, and you go through all of the pain, but you go through a lot of light because of the pain too. You go through a lot of strength, like it does strengthen you. So there is like some things to be very grateful for in a, through the darkness. Sometimes it's so difficult to see like through the darkness, but once you come out the other side, then you see like the reasons why you went through what you did, the things that I'm just getting like confused. What am I saying? You understand the reason why you went through the things that you did. Yeah, that didn't sound right when I said did, but yeah. I think that like if we decide to take on a positive spin on things, then we can start making the connections, and we can see like, okay, like this is why I went through this and this is why I went through that. And then when we take those things, then we can like transmute this energy that we've been given. Like we've been given, like say like what I was talking about with my ex, like he treated me like shit, but then we broke up. And then this anger and this betrayal came in. I went through like a dark time at the beginning. But then like it completely turned into light. Like I went through that situation for a reason, because it was meant to knock me down but then build me back up again, So that's what I mean. And like sometimes you feel like you've been given like a bad thing, but when we look at it from a higher perspective, it's actually a gift if we choose to see it that way. If we choose to transmute our energy in that way, right? Being given negative emotions can uplift and empower us if we let them. Some people are competitive. Yeah, they can be competitive. For sure. But look, you don't have to see it that way. You know? You don't have to be like, oh, like, some people might brag about it and stuff, and that's okay. You know, it's okay to be like, to be proud of yourself and be like, yeah, like I did that, you know? But we don't have to kind of go look at them and be like, oh my god, I need to be reading as much as they do. You know, it's your own personal experience, you and the book, and that's it. There's no one else there with you, unless you want there to be. Especially if they speak in weird accents like the English. Wait, who are we talking about? Drop their husband. I'm dropping you. Yeah, I didn't even realize that I said that. Who's dropping who? No, I won't be dropping you, Shane. Shane, is it time for me? Okay, I was wondering. Usually you come into the chat when it's like time for dinner, but it's okay. Sometimes dropping people on their heads help improve their intelligence. You know, it's actually true though. I know that you probably mean that as a joke, but it's actually true. There was this one guy who like hit his head and then he was like suddenly just this genius at piano. Like he was like Mozart. And then there was like this other guy who hit his head and he saw the world like bees do. Like they see all these geometrical shapes. They understand math, right? Just by seeing these geometrical shapes. So there was like this whole documentary done on him. You could like see what the world looks like through his eyes, and he was a maths genius. It was insane. It was really, really insane. You should watch it. I don't know what it's called, but you should watch it. Sometimes people dropping on their heads help improve. Wait, I already read that. I am sorry you had to find out about it this way. Wait. Oh. Yeah, sorry, Shane. Yes, that's the one. Wait, is it? And at last I see the light. Suddenly I see something. I think it might be. Maybe. Ash will drop you if you don't do housework. Yeah, basically. But I'm very glad. Me and Shane have it very like split up. I'll wipe down everything and I'll do the hoovering, and Shane cleans the bathrooms and he mops the floors. So we both have like 2 jobs every week and we get it done, you know? And then I think in the spring we're gonna do like a deep clean of like everything. This one, suddenly I see this is what I wanna be. Suddenly I see it's what I wanna be. Means so much. What the hell it means so much to me. This is what I wanna be. Suddenly I see. Oh yeah. But I don't think that that's the one though. There's some sort of like it might be from like Aladdin or something. I can show you the world. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah, I don't think that's it either. Anyway. But only if Shane maps the bathroom on time. I'm sorry, but I have to actually call out Shane. He didn't actually mop the floors on time. He actually did the bathrooms, but then he didn't mop the floors. Just calling you out, Shane. Just now. In fairness, we were actually watching Severance, and we were kind of like binge watching that. I don't know if anybody's seen Severance, have you? It's on Apple TV, but you can watch it on Gujara. it's not a pirate site, but if you have a certain site to watch this kind of thing on, it's called Severance. It's very good. It's kind of like mind fucky type thing. It's like it's basically like this thing where people get their brains severed, right? And what I mean by severance is that they go into work and this switch flicks off in their brain. Like they have this chip in their brain, and it means that they don't remember anything from work because what they're doing in work is top secret, right? So the person in work is this whole, like, it's not this whole different person, it's the same person, but how do I explain this? The person on the outside of work does not experience work at all. When they go to work, they'll wake up and they'll be going home, right? But the person that's in work wakes up, leaves work, and then in a second, they're back at work again. So they're constantly in work all of the time. All of the time. So it's this whole, like, it's very, like, mindfucky, and I won't go any more into it, but you should definitely watch it. It was actually directed by Ben Stiller and produced by Ben Stiller. There were, like, some other producers, but I was really surprised by that. It's really, really good. You should watch it. Plus, you never know what kind of kid you will end up with. I mean, I think that, like, whatever kid you're meant to end up with is what you end up with, you know? I think that, like, the people and the circumstances in our lives are very reflective of, like, what's going on the inside, and they're always pointing towards something that's going on internally, you know? So maybe if you have a lot of internal, like, stuff that's going on, like, maybe a lot of chaos is going on that you're trying to suppress, right? I'm not, like, talking to you and saying that you have, like, things that you're suppressing, but maybe there's a lot of, like, things that need to be dealt with on the inside. Then you might end up having this chaotic kid that, like, brings all of this out, and it's up to you whether you want to deal with these outbursts that the child is causing you to have, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, okay, the child might be very much, like, testing you and everything, but we are responsible for how we react to things, right? So if the child brings in, like, this reaction of some sort, then it's a great time to reflect on ourselves and to be like, okay, why really did I have this kind of, like, this reaction? And when was the last time, apart from my child, that I had this kind of reaction? And maybe you can stem it back from a time that you might have experienced this as a child, or maybe you experienced this from a parent, and maybe this is just a parenting tactic that you've picked up from your parents because that's how you were parented, and that's how you're going to go forward. So then you're in this kind of moment where you're like, wow, okay, so this is how my parents treated me, and now I'm treating my kid like this, and now my kid is going to grow up like this, and they're going to treat their children like this. So do I change the behavior and cut it out now? You know, do I keep this generational trauma? Like, do I allow this to keep going? You know? And I definitely do think that, like, emotions are passed on genetically, you know? It is proven that, like, emotions are passed on genetically. And it's up to us to deal with those emotions so that our children don't end up experiencing those too. So we do have a responsibility in that way to, like, to heal, right? which is not only beneficial for your children, but like for the people around you as well, you know, and yourself. Most importantly, yourself, you know? Not most importantly, but importantly, yourself. Plus, you never know what kind of kid you... lots of obstacles can happen from mental things or physical things. I would need a partner where I'm sure they would be all and even in unidealistic scenarios. For sure. It's good to have that support, definitely. But I think that, like, any outbursts that your kid might have, like, since you're genetically, like, bonded, like, since you guys have, like, you share genetics, any reaction that your kid might have might be like a pointer into what could be going on in your life or in your internal world, you know? I think that you can not use your child, but you can, I'm trying to use different wording for this. You can observe your child's reactions in order to see things that might be within yourself, and you can choose, okay, maybe this is something that we both need to heal from. Because at the end of the day, if you have a child that's like screaming and blah 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 blah, first off, they probably just need a little bit of love, and second off, you know, you kind of getting like frustrated with them and being like, will you just please shut up? That never helps anything. And I think that symbolizes, or it shows just a reactive kind of family life, you know? And it's all just about patience with children, and like trying to dig deeper, like why are you feeling this way, and you know, why am I feeling this way? Always ask questions. So yeah. And always show like compassion as well. If you guys will have a kid, can I be their godfather? I can even adopt Brando's... Wait, Brando? Who's Brando? Brando's accent and become a mafia boss for that? I don't know who Brando is, but yeah, we'll definitely think of you as a candidate, Jonah. Perfect godfather for... Oh, I've never watched The Godfather either. Is this what this is about? Oh, don't look at me again. Don't look at me. What about putting the... What about only rule? What about putting the 20? Yeah, that just... That's the first rule for the relationship. Yeah, that's it. If you don't feel like a partner gives the same amount of effort in that, it's not... That's exactly it, yeah. You should watch Shrinking. You'd love it. It delves into the complexities of relationships and loss. Ooh, Shrinking. Is this on Netflix or... Who in the hell would cheat on you? Give me their address. Thanks. Yeah, it was sad that it happened and everything. But honestly, no, I'm glad that it happened. I'm very glad that it happened. It definitely like knocked me down a few, but then maybe from my own anger, like it kind of built me back up again. Like it kind of gave me a new like spark for life, because it like endowed all of these fancy words coming out of me today. It endowed this powerful energy, even though it was like anger can be something that's like, it can really like transmute things into something positive. It's crazy that it does it that way, because like it's the only thing is that like I wasn't like angry and like getting angry at everybody and like punching walls and like, you know, it wasn't anything like that. It was like this like healthy kind of anger. It was like, it was changing things up in me, and it was allowing this energy to like rise up, right? It was like, you know what, no one's gonna treat me like that, and I'm gonna fucking take on the world and myself, you know, and be responsible for how I feel about myself, my self-image, and be responsible for my emotions, my thoughts, right? If the love is real, point being about respecting yourself, not putting up with all the toxic. Yeah, that's it. That was it. It was like being with my ex, right? Was a pointer of like what not to accept in a relationship. It taught me all of the things that you should not go for this, right? Like this, these are where your boundaries are going to lie. Like that was like a whole like boundary setting awareness that was brought into my life. Like that whole experience was such a blessing because it allowed me to realize what I actually want, you know? Be brave enough to leave the spaces that no longer serve you is a quote that sticks with me. It's such a good one. Be brave enough to leave the spaces that no longer serve you. Everyone deserves to be with someone who gives what they take. If the love is real and the people involved are genuine, it'll come naturally. If it's constant work to get that, walk, exactly. Because I genuinely do think that life is meant to be easy. It's all just like if you choose that for yourself, right? If you choose for it to be that way, then it's all just a change of perception. That's it. And that's the theme of the day, everybody. Change of perception. Because this is what we've been talking a lot this stream, hasn't it? It's just been change up the perception. You know, whatever problems that we might be facing today, maybe we're just choosing it to see it in a difficult or negative light. Maybe we can choose to look at it from a different lens, and then the problem sorts itself out because we have cleansed it with this light that we're shining on it, rather than trying to like point a torch at the problem, but there's no light shining from it, you know? There's no light shining from it, so like how can you figure out how to read a map in the dark if you don't switch on that light of positivity and then suddenly you can work it out? That was a good analogy. I'm proud of myself for that one. Dun-dun-dun. My sister and I are mistakes. Yes, same. We're all mistakes here. Are we all mistakes here, actually? You guys don't have to go into that, but I am 10 years after and still a mistake. Yeah, me and my sisters are all mistakes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we are. But wait, was I? I must ask my mother again, because I think that I've forgotten, but I think that I was. I was the middle child. Huh. Anyway, take an emotional ninja obstacle course to test then. Wait, I don't know what. Okay, gonna be like, okay, bye Shane. I saw that thing up at the top. Yeah, that experience made you strong for the right person. There you go. I think that it was when I did all the work and I decided to see myself in a different way. Then, and now I had like given up. Not like given up. I was like, I wasn't really like interested in a relationship. I was like, look, if something like good for me comes, then it's gonna come. And this completely changed because I was always the kind of person to just jump into the next relationship that suited me, you know, and I'd kind of just settle. But I was just enjoying my own vibes, being with myself. Like I was enjoying being alone for the first time in my life. And I think that it was because I got to that stage something just happened, you know? I went to sound engineering music production course, and I met my sister's ex who actually asked me out, and I said no because I decided that was the first time, right? Like, that, I think that the old me probably would have said yes. Probably would have been like, yeah, you know what? Let's go for it. Whatever. I probably wouldn't have. It was my sister's ex. But anyway. So. That would have been weird. Anyway. I said no. And then my sister's ex was like, hey, do you want to come to my friend's house? This was like during lunch. Like while we were doing the course together. And he just decided, well, yeah, we went to the house, and I walked right into Shane's house. I walked right into his kitchen, and there he was on his PC, and I was like, hey, how you doing? And it's funny, we actually knew each other before. The first time I actually met Shane, he was kissing someone. He was like kissing somebody. I was like 12 at the time. My sister was friends with this friend group, right? It was my older sister. She must have been about 15 at the time. They had a session or like a party in the house while our mother was like out of the house. I think she had like gone away for the weekend or whatever. And they had their first session in our house. And I remember going into the garage, or the garage, we call it the garage, and Shane was with his then girlfriend, making out with her. That was my first ever memory of him, which is funny. And then the next time, it was about 11 years later, then I met him again. And yeah, the rest is history. You needing subtitles to watch movies, and the English have funny accents from older. Oh, right. Yeah. See, the thing is, though, I find it easy to understand a lot of British accents. It might just because like we're so close or whatever. But yeah, I never really have a hard time. Although I think that just subtitles always help me to like process information, you know. It's very handy to have the words there. And there was another guy who also hit on the head, and ever since then we can walk on Earth by the power of ever since then we can walk on the Earth by the power of gravity? What are you talking about? Shane is dragging me. What the fuck? My bed is on 4:55 when Ash reads this message. It's 4:54 in your face. What time was it at the time of you writing that? I can't see the time. What time was it then? Oh, lordy me. Severance is on your list. Please watch it. It's really, really, really good. I love another Disney song. I want to be where the people are walking around those, what do you call it? Ah, yeah. Feet. Oh, I love Ariel. It's such a good one. I love that movie. Sounds awfully like a pirate site. Who said it was like a pirate site? Who said it was a pirate site? What are you talking about? What is a pirate site? I've never heard of a pirate site. What? Is it a site that pirates use? It's mysterious and important. That's a reference. It sounds like those people in the show need a pay rise. Can you imagine having to live at work? I would be telling a few customers to fuck off if I was there constantly. It is, no, you should definitely watch it. It's nothing to do with like dealing with customers or whatever, but it is that kind of like corporate life, and yeah, it's just absolute bullshit. It's like I won't go fully into it, but it's like I suppose a lot of people could actually relate to the lives that they live in there, you know, but they're constantly working all the time. Except when they go into the elevator and then they come back, then they might feel a little bit rejuvenated because the person who goes home, they sleep and then they come back and then you feel like a little less tired, I guess, but you're always working. I rejected everything my biological parents tried to teach me, though they didn't. So I was growing with my own thoughts basically, and I'm happy it was like that. I have my, oh yeah, it's so nice when your parents don't force their opinions on you. It's like you have to think like me, you're mini me. That's kind of crazy. Gotta allow people to think for themselves. You know, that's what allows like imagination to grow. Like if we teach our child to think a certain way, then that just like boxes off the imagination. It doesn't allow neurons to grow in the brain. And yeah, you genuinely do make an actual box. Like you're just box thinking. I have my own opinion on everything, drastically different from people around me. Kind of like I didn't. What do you mean you didn't adapt anything? I think that by the way that you're describing it, you obviously think in a very unique way, you know? Not repeating the errors of our parents takes a lot of self-awareness, and I'd say most parents fail that to a large degree. I think that probably still a lot of parents are, but I definitely do think that there are a lot of people, they are actually taking responsibility, and I do think that a lot of kids are, I mean, you have like the iPad babies and stuff, which I think is crazy, but I'm sure that there are those parents out there, you know, that maybe they're not on social media all the time, but I'm sure that there are those parents out there that decide, no, you're not going to be an iPad baby, right? I'd hope that people are taking on more responsibility at least. I obviously can't say for sure, but I think that I have hope. I have hope. We still don't have a category. See, is this really a category? I suppose we could say like just chatting. I haven't gotten around to music at all. Aye. Is this, I think this is just like a just chatting stream, I guess. I don't think we're going to be doing music at this stage. Bum, bum, bum. I've worked with thousands of kids. Some kids are flat out just angry and they're nothing like their parents. Nurturing only goes so far with some kids. People have a hard time realizing the kid is not your extension. They are their own. Yeah, like that's one thing that like, that's one illusion that people need to get past, you know? It's not like as if it's like you're taking ownership of like this completely separate being to you, and they're not like completely separate, but I think that that's where the illusion comes from. It's like we're genetically, you know, alike, so, and you've come from us, so there's almost like this ownership that comes in, but whether that ownership is healthy or unhealthy, that's like up to the individual parent, right? Yeah, it is really sad that some parents kind of look at their children that way, and like my mother definitely looked at us that way. Just like there's a lot of control that comes into it. I think there's so much control, and it's like, oh yeah, you're not allowed to think for yourself, and you're not allowed to make independent choices. You have to make the choices that your parent is happy with. And I think that maybe it's just, it comes from a perspective from the parent of like, I know what's best for you, but do you though? Like at the same time, I think that it's just like a lack of distrust, but it's also like there's like this love from the parent that like, I don't want you to go astray, like I want you to go down this road that I think will be the safest for you because I love you and I don't want anything happening to you, right? But they don't even realize that they're being so controlling, that they're actually leading them down the wrong path because they're not trusting that whatever path their child chooses, that is actually the right path for them. And I'm not saying that like every child will choose the right path for them. It kind of depends on like the trauma that they've been through and how they perceive the world. But a lot of the time, if you trust your child and if you trust your child, that's the thing, like if you place a lot of distrust in your child's choices, then that instills a distrust in how they choose. Like they think that, oh, whatever decision that I make, I'm gonna doubt because my parents didn't trust me to choose. So now when children go out into the world, or like, you know, they grow into adults and they go out into the world and, you know, they were never trusted to make their own decisions, you know, they go out into the world and then they're like debilitated because they're like, I've never had to choose for myself, and how do I trust myself? So it's like this whole new experience of like, right, do I try to be like everybody else, or do I tune in with myself and just have faith in myself, which is like such a scary thing to do. But like at the end of the day, if there's anyone who knows what you're supposed to do in your life or the path that you're supposed to take, it's you. And even if that path looks like a rocky one, or it looks like so you don't really know what's going to happen, but yet your soul is still calling you to do it, then it's the right path for you. Because I think that like when it comes to like rocky paths, or like paths that seem a little bit unsure, or like there's a little bit of doubt kind of mixed in with the situation. What am I saying? When there's doubt into a situation. Oh, I was really getting onto a point there. When there's a little bit of doubt mixed into the situation, it can be really, really hard to trust. Oh, yeah. Because the thing is, right, a lot of us, we're taught to prepare for the worst all the time. And you could look at this as like a realistic like mindset, like always prepare for the worst because like bad things can happen. But with that kind of mindset, what kind of things are we actually manifesting, since we, you know, experience this world through our minds? So that, you know, our reality is experienced through our mind. So if our mind is, you know, directly linked, or maybe it seems indirectly linked to our reality, then if we're always preparing for the worst, then are we not just, you know, attracting that? Do you know what I mean? So I think that it's a pessimistic way to look at things, to prepare for the worst all the time, because like then you're like expecting the worst to happen. But like if you go down a rocky road and you decide, well, you're looking at a rocky road, but you know that you know deep down it's like the road that you're supposed to go down, right? You're kind of looking at yourself going like, oh, like, but like something bad could happen, because you think that, oh yeah, preparing for the worst, and you know, I may as well keep myself safe and all of this, you know. I think that it's better to have this outlook of like, what if something amazing happened though? What if something amazing happened? Like, something amazing can always happen. And I think that if you have this preparing for the best, let's prepare for the best, then you give it your all. And then you experience these beautiful things, because like, it's like you're reaching up, like preparing for the worst. Like, I know that you can feel it in your body when you say preparing for the worst. Like, you're almost like, you get this feeling of like, not even this feeling, or even just like, when you think of the worst, you feel like down here. But if you're preparing for the best, you feel like you're reaching up. You know, do you get that feeling? I'm sure you do. That's like the switch. Whew. Whew. Shrinking is on Apple TV. Okay, let's go. Okay, that's good. Because we actually got like a 3-month free kind of plan on that. So I think that I will watch that. Is it like a whole series, or is it like a documentary, like just this one whole documentary type thing? Yeah, I didn't watch Godfather. Maybe that's what I need to watch tonight? What should I watch tonight? I don't think it was a mistake, though. Mom had 4 boys, so she was hoping for a girl. Then she got my sister, so hey, that's actually really nice. Yeah, my auntie, she had 2 boys, and she said that she was gonna stop at 3, and she really wanted a girl. We were like hoping that she would, and she did. So yeah, it was really nice. And now they're like, literally like this, mother and daughter, like she's her little baby, like. So one of my kids is biologically a girl, but she identifies as a boy now. It's kind of funny, as the parents had 5 boys and a oh my god, that's amazing. Another example of, you can't foresee what kind of kid you will get. That's amazing. I love that. Oh my god. It is actually romantic. Wait, what are we talking about? It was, wait, so I only took 8 minutes to, reply to your message? Wow. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's record-breaking time for us, Indiana, right? Yeah, the pirate site is where you get all the rum. Yes, let's go. We didn't get fuck all as kids. Our kids definitely definitely not getting smartphones and iPads. But sorry, I thought that I was pronouncing smartphones wrong. I thought I was saying like fart phones. Anyway, they have to look at they have to look at the scenery like we had to, to make it fair. Yeah. I really do wonder, like, what is childhood like for children these days? Like, if they're always on their iPads and they're like, they always really want their iPads because of those dopamine hits, and then they're like dopamine depleted, so then they're always looking for dopamine. It's just like dopamine addiction, like, for days, right? And parents always give in because they don't want their kids crying and stuff. It's like this whole cycle. Ugh. It's really sad to see, but like, isn't their childhood just gone? Like, doesn't it change their perception and like all of these like subliminal things that they're putting in kids' like videos these days, or even just like direct like imagery, like, it's pretty crazy. So like, do they lose their almost sense of childhood like a lot sooner due to being an iPad baby? It would be really interesting to see in the next like decade or so, to see like what childhood was actually like for them. you know? Huh. But the thing is that they wouldn't really know, like, the difference between, like, our childhood, like, how childhood, I wouldn't say, like, is meant to be experienced, but, like, I feel that a childhood is best experienced in the outdoors, you know? Being connected to other children and going outside and playing and just like living in the now. But I think that like smartphones can really take us away from the energy that's like in this reality. It kind of like shuts us off, and then we're like, we have like this one focused energy on this like this little screen that hurts your eyes. Like I don't like it. I don't like it. You're like cutting yourself off from life, you know? Here I am like talking to you guys while you're like looking at a screen. You're cutting yourself off to life, unless you're watching me, of course. Wait. My kids will not be iPad babies. They will be my babies. Oh, that's so cute. Aw, I know that you will be such a good dad, Jonah. That's amazing. Wait, it finished again. By the way, if anybody is new to the channel, don't forget to give a follow if you enjoy the content. Excuse me, did I say that I'm ready to be a mafia boss? Wait, what? Oh wait, you did say that you wanted to be a mafia boss. Exactly. But I think that you could be an amazing father and a mafia boss at the same time, right? The mafia boss is still all about the family. Exactly, there you go. Unless the kid becomes a cop, then they are excommunicated. Shrinking is a comedy drama. Ah, interesting. If you like Ted, I'm sorry, but I don't know who Ted Lasso is. Should I know who Ted Lasso is? I'm really bad with like knowing people. Like the other day, we were playing. This was in Spain. I was with Shane, and then I was with Shane's brother and father. And we were playing Cards Against Humanity, and Nigel Farage came up, and they were like something about Nigel Farage. I was like, who's Nigel Farage? And they would just looked at me, they're like, you don't know who Nigel Farage is? I was like, sorry, like they're like, that's the guy to do with Brexit. And I was just like, well, I just knew that Brexit was happening. Why do I need to know the guy that's connected to Brexit? How does this change my life? But yeah, I didn't know who that. Does anybody else not know who that was? Can you relate? Usually when I prepare for the worst, the good thing happens. So I gotta force myself to think that something will end up badly, just so it would end up well. Wait, what? This is a complete mind boggle. So a positive mindset is like a basketball. It seems it. But could you love them if then they became a mole in the police force? Nobody likes a mole in the police force. There is a chance, but that's shady. You know what would be a fun game show in a couple of years? Get Gen Alpha teens to try survive in the wilderness and watch the Oh my god, that would be so funny. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. I don't think iPads is too bad because they see the whole world and that it's big with many people there, many different opinions and opportunities. It's just important what they watch there. I would have just controlled what they do on iPads. I think that like okay, so in terms of the biology of the brain, I think that it is really important that kids live in the now because that is like their brains are still developing. So if they're experiencing things through, I would consider like watching cartoons and whatever. You know, like I don't think that there's anything wrong with watching cartoons, but if you're doing it all the time in your life, then it probably isn't helping to shape their brains in such a way that is so. What I'm trying to say is that like the reality of now is so rich and it's so expansive, and I think that cartoons and whatever they're watching can only help their brains develop so much, you know? I think that they said something about like, I think it was like 1 million neuron connections are being made in a baby's brain every second of every day. So it was kind of like this thing like, if you think that bringing your baby out for experiences isn't so, you know, important because like, look, they're not gonna remember it or whatever, then like think again, because they're making so many connections in their brain by just experiencing different things. So like it's so good to bring your child out for a full experience of life, right? Not just have them sitting indoors all day and, you know, just on their iPad. Because are they really experiencing everything? And are they asking enough questions as well if they're just on their iPad? Because their attention is just like taken away. You know, they're not listening to anybody around them. They're just watching it. And because things are progressing in whatever cartoon that they're watching, they don't really have time to pull their parent aside and ask, why is this the case? Or like, how does this happen? And like, the reason why kids ask so many questions is because it's important for them, you know, to understand the world and like be able to navigate, you know? So if being on an iPad stops them from asking those questions and really like understanding life, then I think that it really does bring their development almost not to a standstill, but like I think that it slows their development, and I think that it does give them that kind of like box thinking. Like if the iPad is doing all the thinking for them, then how are they going to think for themselves? And how are they going to have any imagination if the cartoons are imagining for them? You know, if the cartoons are doing all the work for them, then how are they going to grow up to be creative, imaginative beings? And they're growing up not to ask questions, too. So then this is like a whole generation that could be, who knows what will happen in the future, but they could. Erdbeer, hello, welcome in. How you doing? Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're having a good day. We're just talking about iPad babies. I'm talking about maybe just a few concerns that we might have. If you have anything to add, please do. But I'm just thinking about like the developmental factors when it comes to kids being on iPads and stuff. It's like, what was the one thing that I was gonna say? yeah, so like like who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? But say with kids not really asking questions, they don't really have an imagination, like think about how easy it is for governments to control that kind of person that isn't taught to ask questions, that isn't taught to like inquire about things, to pick things apart, you know, or even to imagine, because imagination is such a powerful thing. Because if you don't have imagination, how do you imagine a better life? You know? So like if you're stuck in this reality of like governments are controlling us all over, I don't want to sound like one of those conspiracy theories, but I think that everybody can agree that like there is control going on, right? And there is a lack of like care for citizens. And I think that you can see that with the California fires. It's like, okay, so there's like these big companies, right? They're pulling out of, you know, insurance for people, right? For, you know, their house going on fire. So then they have no insurance. Oh, right. Well, here we are. We just have no house now. And we can't get our house back. We have to rebuild. And a lot of people are going through that right now because of that. And it just shows the governments don't care. And these big companies don't care. These big oil companies don't care either. And they're the ones who have created this global warming mess, you know? So, how did I get into this? How did I get into this? What am I doing? I'm saying that if kids grow up with no imagination and no will to inquire about anything, then these governments will just keep on doing what they're doing and there will be no change. So if you end up having a child, please don't give them an iPad. And let them ask as many questions as they want. Even if they just keep on going, why? 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 This was so funny. Me and Shane were in an airport one time, and this kid was like asking his dad so many questions. We were like standing next to the both of them. And the kid was just like asking all these questions, and then it just turned into the whole why, and the dad was like actually answering, you know, the whole like you know, oh, because I don't know, the people decided to give it to us. Why? Well, because they wanted to. Why? Well, I don't know why they wanted to. That's just how they are, I guess. Why? And then we were kind of just like we like caught eyes with the dad and we all just kind of laughed together. It was funny. When I find funny from wait, never mind cartoons, that skibbity toilet stuff is gonna cook there. What is the skibbity toilet stuff? What? What I find funny from teaching math is how my younger kids assume I know everything. Like one kiddo asked me about taxidermy and what they use for stuffing. I was like, what about me makes you think I would know this? But that's the amount of trust that kids like have in adults, right? Like I'm sure that you remember yourself as well. Like you thought that adults just knew everything and had everything like figured out. It's mad. Like you really think that they're just like these gods that are guiding you into life, but like it's really crazy. As you grow up, you just realize that adults really are just children. Like we're all just like, you know, children living in, you know, older skin, you know. We never really like leave that, you know. And some people might suppress like their not their childishness. I think that a lot of people can come off and like maybe negative childish ways, but also people can like obviously come across in like very positive childlike ways, right? What was my point? I'm really losing my thoughts. Maybe I need some water. But anyway, I agree with you. I think that it is kind of funny, but at the same time, like, I just like trusted adults with my whole being, you know? I was just like, yeah, they know everything, so, you know, and they did know a lot of things. Like, they just knew all these basic things to get us into life, but like life gets more complicated, and then you realize everybody is struggling just like you. So true. Look at America. There's a reason their education standards are declining and why their leadership favors this. So true. It's so sad. Never mind the neglect of mental health. They want people locked in the cycle and the system they've created without any pushback. That's it though. It's like, but then, and then we are like, we're given all these phones and we're just like, you know, we're so blind to a lot of things, and it's crazy how much is being censored by the news now. Like, it's crazy. They only push whatever agenda they want to push, and you know, just because they're being truthful in what they do share, it doesn't mean that it's not propaganda, because it is still a form of propaganda by only pushing whatever agenda that you want to share, you know? Just because it's not like, you know, these posters or like, you know, I don't know how to say, but it's not like as if it's like all up in your face. Like, it's a very indirect way of like, you know, controlling people and thinking that everything is okay, and but like there's so much that's not being shared at the moment. Like, apart from the California fires, there's so many more fires that are going on right now. Like in Africa, there's a massive fire. In Brazil, there's a massive fire going on too. There's fires going on everywhere. And we don't even, like, in massive scales, like, too. It's not just, like, these small fires. Like, the whole world is burning right now. Places look like absolute hell, and nothing is being reported about it. And, like, if this is not waking up the world right now, then I really don't know what will. It's really sad that some people are just like, yeah, we need to come together. We need to come together. And we need to change the world. Okay? We need to change the world. Because this is such a pivotal time for us right now. We need to like circle everything back and just take back our power, because like we're not powerless, and it's because of like this division that they're trying to create in the media and everything, and like we're, you know, the media are trying to create this divide between ourselves so that we're always pointing fingers at each other rather than pointing fingers at the people who are actually making these stories, you know. That's keeping us distracted, and it's really sad that they try to play with our feelings like this, you know. It's like, okay, distract them with like feelings that they will direct towards each other. It's sad. Ash, can I have a question for you? Why? Why what, Jonah? Oh, Jonah. Give them a knife instead. They can learn to hunt. Wait, who are we talking about? They want people locked in a cycle in the system they've created. Oh yeah, sorry, I read that part. I wasn't sure if I read like the last sentence of that. It is kind of strange to look at the 2-year-old scrolling their little finger all over the screen while still being in a diaper. Like, what? Like, I am gonna be asking them soon about how to find the right feature in settings to reply an Instagram photo from a 2-year-old. It's actually a sad truth. The government should just leave the children alone. It's bad enough them going, but it's like, you know, the quicker they get to them, you know, the quicker they get to them, then the easier it is, right? It suits them. Even though the world is burning right now, it's kind of crazy how like these big companies are just like what is the point in all of this just so you can like live your lavish life now only for you not to be able to breathe later, you know, or drink clean water? What's the point? There's no point. It's bad enough for them going to school with 50 million school shooters. Surely gun control would be a better idea than teaching stupid ideology. Yeah, absolutely. Like, do they really care though? Like, it's like, oh yeah, well, let's just let them, like, you know, control the population for us. You know? Because, like, surely that's, like, a thing. They don't want America to become overpopulated. So, like, why would they look into gun laws? You know? They don't really care. Like, I know that sounds like, maybe it might sound like an exaggeration to a lot of you, and it's like, oh, why would the government do that? But it's like, it's kind of denial at this stage to think that the government really cares about people, you know, that like pretty much anyone's government cares about us, right? Especially because, like, again, I'll go back to the California fires. That is like such a big pointer to how little they actually care about their people, you know? America has a cycle where they pick a marginalized group, dehumanize and weaponize their existence, all to distract from the fact their government operates on bribes and legal corruption. Like, there was a time where, I don't know if you ever, like, if you guys ever thought of this, right? But there was a time where I thought that racism was over. That nobody was racist anymore. Like, I thought that that was, like, a thing of the past. I'd never heard of it anymore. I might have heard it from, like, the older generation. Because, like, they were just stuck in their ways and, like, that's just how they were raised. But I thought that for, like, you know, generations, like our generation especially, or like, you know, maybe the generation after us, I thought that that was just over. Like, that was not, no, nobody would be racist, right? But then it was really weird. It just started popping up out of nowhere. Everybody's racist now, you know? Everybody's racist. And then there was like, then there's this whole thing of like racism, like, suddenly just came back. And maybe there were a lot of people that were racist. Who am I to know? But I do think that that social media, or just the media in general, they made the situation to seem a lot worse than what it actually was. Because it just popped up out of nowhere. I don't know if you guys like noticed that change, but I genuinely, not that I didn't think that nobody was racist, but I was just like, that's like a thing of the past now. You know, that's something that happened, you know, way back then. I don't know, like, can you guys Can you guys give your actual opinion on this? Like, I'd like to know what you guys think, because for me, hadn't really heard of racism in such a long time, and then suddenly racism is everywhere. And suddenly, because all of this racism was being exposed, then the people who were actually racist, right? All of the people who were like in the closet racist thought that it was okay. So they actually like they actually made a situation true, even though like it was probably not that big of an issue back then. But you know, they're bringing all of this, okay, people are racist now, and then sparks this whole thing where people who are actually racist, in the closet racist, they're like just outwardly racist, you know? It's crazy what the media can do. Dun, 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 dun. America has this, wait, corruption to distract people from, oh yeah, to distract from the fact that their government operates on bribes and legal corruption. Politicians are supposed to serve the people. Instead, they serve their wallets at the expense of, it's so true. Like, and I think that it's like, it is the case from like government to government, maybe less so in like some governments, but I think that it is like a constant truth, you know? They try to distract us with wars so we wouldn't have energy to think about steps we need to take back our power. Sadly, it's work. That's it though, isn't it? That's actually such a good point, Jonah, because I'd never even thought of that. Like, oh yeah, this is another distraction. Another reason that we are powerless, we can't do anything, right? It's like, we can't really do anything about the war unless we want to jump right in there and, you know, stop the war. I mean, we could, but they know that we won't do that because we're comfortable here sitting on our phones and talking to each other and pretending like everything's okay. Anyway, I think that it is so true. It actually does work as like another distraction. I hadn't even thought of that. That's how distracted I was. Thank you for undistracting me, Jonah. Also, some Americans say they prefer the government that speaks in a real language, talking about the way Trump talks. It's not a real simple, unscripted talk, whatever you call it. It's a lack of education. What? Really? What a like, real language? That's crazy. The UK also does the same thing. Hey, focus on the boats. Don't look at me handing my mates lucrative bogus contracts and taking money away from the poor and giving it to the rich. It's like, that's the thing in Ireland. It's like we have this housing crisis going on, but then they're always like bringing up the rent, you know, for people. So people are just like renting. Nobody's like really buying houses anymore. We were lucky that we were able to buy ours. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so with the rent, it's like, there's all of these politicians that are landlords, so they are just like pocketing their own money. They're like bringing up the rent because more money for them, you know? But then it's like people can't even, are just like, they're wasting their money. Like they're just like throwing their money away. Like, at least, like, if they have a mortgage, then it's actually going towards something. Like, paying for their home, their house. A lot of people don't actually feel like they're at home because, well, I'm in this unstable house where, you know, the rent could go up and maybe I won't be able to afford my rent anymore. Or the landlord can just decide to throw me out because they want to sell the house now. You know? It's crazy. The UK, wait, I already read that. Yeah, it was bad before the blatant widespread misinformation that somehow people believe managed to get in. You know the world is messed up. Yeah. But I don't know though. I think that there can only be so many distractions until we like actually like see what they're doing. And I think that the more that we actually speak up and be like, you know, this is how they're trying to distract us, this, and we all, you know, collectively build each other up and be like, no more distractions, this is the problem, let's seek it out and just cut it out from its core, because like we are in the many and they are in the few, you know. I really do like feel kind of excited, kind of, I'm not like scared, I'm actually kind of like, I'm kind of interested to see what will happen in terms of all of this, because I do think that we can overthrow governments. I do think that we have the power to do it, but it is really just like waking people up is the only thing, you know, because there's some people that do need to be woken up, and like some people just don't have the education to be able to think for themselves, and that's another thing, you know. But if we all look at it in a positive aspect, then we can really work around the situation and figure out something that's best for society as a whole. By the way, it's the last year for the Irish current president. Oh, is it? See, the president of Ireland, they don't really have a say in anything. They just sign like legislations or whatever. They're basically just like, they're kind of just like a mascot, you know. They don't really have like a lot of say in what goes on. It's just like the government or our dole will like come to a decision about something, and then the president will just like write it off. But like, I don't really think that the president has really a lot of say in what they write off. Like they just have to, like they have to just, you know, sign it. That's it. There's no like dispute or anything. Change won't happen unless there is profit. Like as in, companies won't change unless they have profit type thing is what you mean? Or do you mean like we won't incur change if we don't have profit? An eye-opening thing for me was when Paul McCartney spoke about segregation. He saw it with his own eyes, and he's literally alive right now. Deep that. You don't think that people enforcing and promoting segregation aren't passing down those views to their grandkids who are now in their 40s and running stuff? What a wise man, clearly, right? The Beatles always had something amazing to say, like through all of their songs, you know? But yeah. This is sad. But it's also like, I don't know. I think a lot of people are like, have this kind of like nihilistic view, and they're like, oh, well, whatever we do now doesn't matter because like that's just the way it is. And, you know, I think that like it's really important for us to change that story, because like it's us who write the story. Destiny is a book that you write. Destiny is a book that you write yourself. So if we want to change this into an empowering story and die feeling fulfilled with, oh my god, we all came together, we all fixed this shit, like I can't believe that like everything looked like as if it was going to shit, but we actually did it, we did it together, and now we're all connected, and we feel like this big happy community, and we're all rebuilding our lives with more nature, and like you can see the future, right? Like you can see that. So if we can see that, then that doesn't mean that it's not possible, right? Like we can, and we do have the power to change it. And we don't have to be intimidated by these people with all this money and blah blah blah, because I mean, if they accidentally went kaput, then, you know, wouldn't be any money to compete with, right? I'm only messing. I'm not condoning any of this, but there is a way to get them off their saddles, right? Media is the news, and the news needs something dramatic and terrible to get ratings. Yeah, and that's it. It's like they'll write all these like scary things to get people to like actually pay attention, because if there's anything that people like to do is they like to look at for fear, and they know that, and they feed off of that. So sad. Most of the wars are down to a few. Like, it's just like, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It literally is only a few people, and guys, I'm gonna have to go soon. Always happy to undistract you. Thank you, Jonah. I live in constant fear with that because I rent. I had a time when I've been moving away or every 2 months because I couldn't pay the rent on time. Aw, that sucks. And then when I could pay the rent, they were still kicking me out to sell the house. There you go. So you've obviously experienced all of that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you've had to go through all of that, Jonah. I know that it can be really tough, like moving from house to house. I know that I did have my fair share of it when I was like, you know, when my mother would be like going from house to house and blah blah blah. So I have lived in a good few different houses, but yeah, I'm sure that it will work out for you, Jonah. Just don't spend any more money on me, okay? I mean that. Don't worry, in about 20 to 30 years, all the current politicians will be dead. Hopefully the new... Yeah, I mean, there is the matter of time, isn't it? That's good. But who knows, though? People can change over time, and then you have, like, nepotism. I don't want to be nihilistic or negative about this. But let's hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Do you like Men I Trust? Yes, I do. Quite. Hello, welcome in. How are you doing? Of course I love Men I Trust. How did you know? Do I just look like someone who likes Men I Trust? You're my kind of person, you know that? Where am I? Let's find someone to raid. Or is it the case of America probably 10 years after he falls off the board? Yeah. I mean, it's not... It is like... It's going to happen soon, right? Hold on. How do you just come in? Like, this is your first time chatting here, and you just go, do you like Men I Trust? We're attracting all of the right people into the stream, obviously. What on earth? They're like one of my favorite bands, and you just come in here, that's like the first thing you say? Just casually come in here, say, do you like Men I Trust? Of course. My goodness. You're doing good, I'm glad you're doing well. We're about to finish the stream, but hopefully I'll see you again sometime. Do make sure to follow if you like the stream. Or if it's the case... Wait, I already read that. That is an interesting take. Oh, Indiana. It's gonna be a long 4 years. Yeah, we're in for the ride, buddies. Look, I'm just glad that I'm Irish, you know? And I'm glad that the Americans like the Irish. I feel safe for now, you know? Feel safe for now. Is that way leaving Luigi and Trump in the room and looking the other way? What? Leaving Luigi and Trump in the other room and looking the other... Wait. Oh, wait. I've heard about this Luigi guy, but I don't know who this Luigi guy is. Should I know who this Luigi guy is? I want to base a lube. I hope it to be... Yo! Is your favorite song Lauren? Is your favorite song Lauren? Because that bass, that's my favorite. That's my favorite song. It's my favorite because of the bass. Dun 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 dun. Boom 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 boom. My fear for America is that if you push people and you push and push, all it takes is one person to have enough for shit to get bad. Yeah. I don't condone the actions, but what Luigi did. Oh, Luigi, sorry. I know now. Sorry. I do know. He's the guy who killed your fella. Who assassinated your fella. From the health thingy. I can't remember what exactly it was called. But he was like the CEO. Yeah, you know. You know. Yeah, the healthcare CEO. Anyway. I don't condone the actions of what Luigi did. Would only be a start. I mean, a couple people have already tried on Trump. Now when people start feeling the impact of his policies and how their quality of life goes down, I fear for America for sure. Or Quiet, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. So this is something that I was going through with Shane. I was like, the government is like, it's kind of like this relationship that we all have with the government, right? And it's pretty reflective of like a relationship that a lot of people have individually, like, or you know, like if you're in a relationship with someone else, then if it's like, you know, I mean, as in if it's a very bumpy and, you know, it's just not a healthy relationship, right? I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have gone through maybe a similar relationship where, you know, they just keep on ticking away at you, and the more they do, then the worse it gets, and then there's suddenly just like a flip point where you're just like, okay, enough is enough, and then you just like cut, you know, the tie and you free yourself, you know. It's kind of like that with society and government. Society and government are in this relationship, and this relationship is really, really abusive. So, and you know, the abusive one is obviously the government. They're just taken away. But then, oh no, look at this though instead. And then they just keep on punching you in the face, belittling you, making you feel powerless. But then they're using all this manipulative tactics to be like, oh, well, you know, you don't deserve anybody else. And there's just all of these distractions, right? But there's only so far you can go. You hit the rock bottom, that's what's gonna happen with us. You see it happen time and time again. A lot of revolutions where things go to an all-time low, and then people rise up together. The powerless become powerful, and change happens. But unfortunately, the whole thing just happens again, right? It does like go back, like there's just like it's like us in our lives, you know. We go through darkness, we go through light, you know. It's like we go through our ups and downs, and like in a bigger perspective of a timeline, like if you're looking at societies, it's like, you know, you got your revolutions, and then you got your dark periods, and then you got your revolutions, you got your dark periods. You know, there's freedom and imprisonment. It just keeps on going like that. But that's what's gonna happen, right? There's gonna be a point where enough is enough, and there's gonna be revolutions like all over the place. Like once one like pops up, then it's going to happen like everywhere. It's going to be like this whole like explosion. There's going to be chaos everywhere, and obviously like that's really, really, it's really, I'm sure that a lot of people would be afraid of that, but I think that as long as change is happening, I think that it's a good thing for generations to come, you know. Obviously, what I would like is that for there to be as little death as possible to come from this, but I don't know if that's like a realistic thing to wish for, you know, considering the amount of weapons that are out there and the amount of anger that is out there and blah blah blah. But I do think that the people that will survive from this will be able to pick up the pieces and rebuild a better generation for the generations to come. So yeah, there's gonna be like a lot of death and everything, but we will rebuild stuff and it'll be fine. It'll be like the dinosaurs being wiped out and like, you know, new life happening again. It'll be a fun time. She has too many to have a favorite. That is very true. That is very true. But honestly, that bass in Lauren just hits too much for me. I vibe too much to that song. So I do have to say it is my favorite. Although all of their songs are very, very good. I think Trump should bring back open top convertibles to, you know, or look cool. Oh my goodness. The UK needs to reassess their priority. We need to reduce ties with America and rebuild bridges with the EU, for sure. Can't be alone in this, you know? That is crazy. I hate that Brexit happened. Build relationships with East Asia and Middle East and Australia and Africa, etc. Labour's mistake last time was doing whatever America said, and it destroyed them politically. Yeah, for sure. They can't make the mistake again. I'm going like cross-eyed. I need to get off now. I'm like looking at this, I'm like starting to go a little bit from like reading people's messages. They can't make that mistake again, and we as a nation can't do that again, because look at the devastation it caused, for sure. I absolutely agree. Yeah. And the UK definitely needs to build up relationships with Ireland as well. No, I'm kidding. It's not like we could help you guys anyway, because we're barbarians, like you guys said. One of my favorite movies is V for Vendetta. I haven't watched that. I suggest for you to watch it, for watching it now. It is very relative to today. Oh, okay. So wait, V for Vendetta. What is it about? Avoid America for 4 years because shit is gonna go down. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I hope not 4 years. My man faced impeachment 2 to 3 times. Like, come on. Yeah. Well, that's another thing, right? A good percentage of boomers who voted to leave the EU are probably dead by now too. What? What do you mean? What do you mean they're probably dead by now too? If you hold a vote right now, I'm certain it would be a landslide to be a part of the yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant to part from the EU. I was like, wait, what? No, I think so too. Let's see. Wait, Glenn, are you starting up your stream? Are we raiding into you? I will have to have you on in the background. I actually need to go to Tesco to get crackers because we're doing like a cheese and cracker board. Are you streaming like right now? Like, Glenn Parnell, or you're starting up your stream? Okay, we're going to. If you want to, I would love to raid into you. I can have you in my ear while I go to the shop because I need to get crackers. I need to get some crackers. I need to get some crack. Sure, do it. Okay. Have you started up? You've started up. Okay, let's do this. we are writing into Glenn, who is an amazing guitar player. I haven't heard Glenn play before, but Glenn says that people say that he was born with a guitar in his hand. So I'm really looking forward to hearing this. I might not be able to be very present for the stream, like I definitely will be listening and everything, but I'm getting crackers and we're making dinner and then we're like having dinner and stuff and we're gonna watch a movie. So I will be there for like the beginning of the stream, but I won't be able to be around for long. I'm sorry about that. But I'm really looking forward to watching you stream. That's why I still hope it won't last another 4 years. And then 4 years after he'll return, like, I am running for president again because I didn't finish my second term. I'm running... Oh, right, yeah. Great stream. Always love hanging out here. So much perspective and insight. Such a nice space. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much, Chickabit. I'm glad that you actually enjoy the chats. I didn't actually expect this to be like a just chatting stream, but I think that we kind of just like went into it. Felt a lot of flow actually talking about all of this, and it just felt right. So yeah, I'm really glad that we had all of those chats. We had a lot of like productive kind of chats, I think, and I hope that we all like walk away from this chat feeling a little bit more hopeful about the future, because I really don't think that it is, you know, the end for us, because at the end of the day we choose, right? Like, we can choose a brighter future. We can imagine a brighter future for us, because, you know, like I was saying, like all of our chats that we've had today all kind of like interconnect in a way. Like, the main theme is just like change of perspective, right? But I was also talking about me leaving my abusive relationship, and because I left my abusive relationship then, and it was because of betrayal, right? Betrayal from like the government, right? This is kind of like, they kind of intertwine in a way, right? You know, the way I was talking about relationships, you know, individual and like, you know, yeah. But it is mad. I don't know, it's just like we can take our self-image and like what we want and like really realize like what our worth is, because like our sense of worth is innate in every single one of us, and it's waiting there for all of us to, you know, to be realized. You know, it's not just something that you have to like search for externally and like, I need to add this and this and this to my character. Like, it's something that is literally just there and you need to uncover it, right? It's literally just to shine a different light on how you see yourself and like what you deserve. We all deserve a better life together, not just individual people. It's not like as if, oh, this person, you know, is better looking than me and they just like get what they want because of... No, we all deserve an abundant life, and like the world can give us that, but because we're taking and taking and taking from the world, then we experience this sense of like lack or this loss. There's not enough here, but like there is if we give back to the world, you know? So all I'll say is what we can do to change the world, right, is to focus on ourselves, to focus on our sense of self-worth. It all just takes a flip in our perception. It all just takes for us to constantly show up to ourselves and think different thoughts, to say, I deserve good things in life. I am worthy. I am enough, you know? To say that like with conviction too. And it might sound like as if it's just like a lie in the beginning, and it might feel that way, but the more that you keep on repeating it to yourself and repeating, then the more, you know, you'll actually really like uncover that self-worth within yourself, because you've changed your perspective, you've changed the path of your neurons in your brain, you know, and then you don't just want a better life for yourself, you command a better life for yourself. It's not just this whole like, oh, I wish that things were like this. It's like, I know my worth and this is what I want from this life, so I am going to get it. And if we all had that perspective collectively, imagine what we could actually achieve. Hey, maybe the music is actually like, you know, like this whole like, woo, like this whole like, this music is almost like this transformative kind of like, ooh, it's like, let's step into the unknown, like let's go. Maybe this is what has been like driving these conversations in the first place. This music makes me feel very inspired. I really love this music. It's been the bind for this whole conversation. It's been driving the flow. It really has. It's important to have these conversations, and I think that shying away from it or actively avoiding them is part of the reason why we're in this kind of mess right now. It's so true. It's like, because people are so uncomfortable with pain, it's like, okay, yeah, they're just, it's just an easy thing to avoid. But the longer that we leave it, the less easy it is to avoid, though. We've allowed this problem to grow, and now it's got a hold on us. And like, at this point, it's our responsibility. You know? We have to step out of this like victimhood and like, oh, life is just happening to us, when we have the power to change our perspective and like take responsibility and be like, okay, we're gonna come together, right? Let's all build back up our connectedness or our connection. I think both are words, right? We can just come together. Just come together. Just come together. Come on, let's do it. Looking at the guy, surely a heart attack and the high blood pressure. Wait, what? Why do I want to say amen after literally every speech Ashley gives on mentality? Let's go. Can I get an amen up in here? I wrote a dissertation at uni about how social media can influence people. Since then, Musk has taken over and generative AI has grown. In conclusion, we may be wow! Let's just see how things go. I don't know if our lives are really going to be like a movie, you know? Because movies are also like symbolic. Like, we really don't know what's gonna happen at the end. Like, you know, like in a movie, right? I think that everything can be applied as like symbolism to life, you know, like the presence of mirrors in our life. There's more and more mirrors in our lives, and that symbolizes more reflectiveness, and like it also shouts the need for more reflection, right? And then there's movies as well. They can also be like this symbol of like, you know, you have the start of the movie, there's, you know, the start of the plot is kind of come in, and then there's all these problems and things don't look like they're gonna work out, but then like this whole thing comes in suddenly, and then you have like this big happy ending. And yeah, okay, you could look at me and be like, that's not realistic, like that's not gonna happen, but it could. And I think that it's up to us if we choose that, right? And I don't know, I just get this feeling that like our life is gonna be like a movie, and we're like, it's crazy that we came into this world with like the rise of technology, and you know, it's like I came in like right when technology was like really taking off. This was like in 1998, and it was like, and now it's like reaching a peak, and you know, the chaos in the world is reaching this peak, and we're at almost like this climax of the movie, and things are gonna start falling apart before they come back together again. And I do think that things are gonna work out. Things are gonna work out. In a way, I feel bad for them. They're looking for easy answers, and they've been brainwashed into a solution by charlatans. Everyone wants something to believe in. When their lives are empty or unfulfilled, they fill it with false prophets and are radicalized into movements. I don't know what we're talking about. I am pretty sure Ashley didn't watch Terminator. Yeah, I didn't watch Terminator either. I didn't watch Terminator either. Okay, we're gonna rate Glenn now. That was a good chat also, but this is gonna be the end of the stream now. I'm really glad that we got to talk all of that through, and I had a lot of fun. I hope that you guys did too. Thank you so much for watching the stream, and I will see you again probably on Monday. I think I'm gonna do some busking this weekend, and I had a lot of fun with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed the chats and my little rants. I do go off on some rants, don't I? When I'm given the floor, I just go off. It's funny, I'm not really like this in person. But I think that it's like when there's nobody else like talking, I think that, yeah, I have been given the floor and then I just go off on one. Anyway. Take care, Jonah. Thank you so much, Jinkaman, for coming in as well. And thank you so much, Indiana. I love you guys so much. And thank you, Glenn, too, who we're about to raid. Make sure to give him a follow. I'm sure he's going to be absolutely amazing. And, who am I missing anybody? Thank you for Quiet as well for coming in. I hope that you have an amazing day. And Fredo as well. The raid's about to begin. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody. And World Cry as well. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I'll see you